You think you know the story, Jonah and the whale. It's one of the most famous tales in the Bible, told to children and adults alike for generations. But what if there's more to it than meets the eye? What if this ancient narrative is not just about a miraculous escape or a man's stubbornness, but about something much deeper, something that still speaks to us today? A man, a boat, a giant fish, these are the images that come to mind. But behind these symbols lies a story layered with meaning, mystery, and questions that challenge our assumptions. This isn't just a tale about disobedience and divine punishment. It's a journey into the heart of human nature, exploring why we resist what we know is right and how we wrestle with forgiveness, especially when it's hardest to give. Beneath the surface, it's a story about mercy, prejudice, and the baffling nature of a divine plan. It asks us to consider, can we accept grace for those we dislike? Can we let go of our grudges when called to do so? Jonah's struggle is our struggle too. Why did Jonah run from his mission? Was it fear, pride, or something more complicated? The answer reveals the complexity of the human heart. Why was he so desperate to avoid Nineveh? What made this city so terrifying, so unworthy in Jonah's eyes, that he would risk everything to escape his calling? Nineveh was the heart of the Assyrian Empire, Israel's sworn enemy. To Jonah, they represented cruelty, violence, and everything he feared. The idea of offering them a second chance seemed impossible, yet Jonah was told to warn them, to offer them a chance at redemption. He was asked to be the messenger of hope to those he considered beyond hope. To Jonah, this was unthinkable. How could he bring himself to help those who had hurt his people? His heart was torn between justice and mercy. He wanted justice, not mercy for his enemies, so he ran. He tried to put as much distance as possible between himself and the task he dreaded. He booked passage to Tarshish, the edge of the known world, hoping to escape God's call. It was a desperate move, a last-ditch effort to avoid facing what he feared most. But you can't outrun the divine. No matter how far you go, some truths and some responsibilities will always catch up with you. A storm is brewing, and Jonah's about to face more than just the sea. He's about to confront his own fears, his prejudices, and the limits of his compassion. This isn't just a story of a man and a fish. It's a story about wrestling with conscience, about the struggle to do what's right, even when it's uncomfortable. It's a confrontation with conscience, prejudice, and the inescapable will of God. Jonah's journey is a mirror for our own, challenging us to examine our hearts and our willingness to forgive. The real drama is about to begin. Let's dive in and discover what this ancient story still has to teach us today. Jonah wasn't just anyone, he was a prophet, chosen for a purpose far greater than himself. In a world where few dared to speak for the divine, Jonah was called to deliver messages that could change the fate of entire cities. As a professional messenger of God, his words carried weight and consequence. Every command he received was a test of faith, and every journey was a leap into the unknown. His mission to Nineveh wasn't just terrifying, it was a challenge to his loyalty and beliefs. Nineveh was a city that struck fear into the hearts of many, and Jonah's assignment felt impossible. Nineveh was infamous for cruelty. Its reputation for violence and wickedness was known far and wide, making it the last place Jonah wanted to go. Jonah wanted them punished, not forgiven. He couldn't understand why mercy should be shown to such a ruthless people. His escape was deliberate, a desperate attempt to avoid a mission he couldn't accept. He paid his fare to Tarshish, determined to flee as far as possible from his calling. Tarshish was the edge of the known world, a place where he hoped God's voice would not reach him. He hid in the ship's depths, trying to disappear from God's sight. Jonah believed that distance could sever his connection to the divine, but he underestimated the reach of his Creator. But you can't hide from the divine. No matter how deep the shadows or how far the journey, God's presence finds us. As Jonah slept, a violent storm erupted. The sea raged with fury, winds howled, and the ship was tossed like a toy in the waves. The sailors panicked, tossing cargo and praying to their gods, desperate for deliverance. Fear gripped every heart as the storm grew worse. Meanwhile, Jonah slept, oblivious to the chaos he'd caused. While the world above fought for survival, he drifted in uneasy dreams below deck. His escape was doomed from the start. No matter how far he ran, the consequences of his choices would catch up to him. The storm was just the beginning. Jonah's journey was about to take a turn he could never have imagined. Jonah's reckoning was at hand, and the true test of his faith was only just beginning. The sailors, desperate and terrified, cast lots to find the cause of the relentless storm battering their ship. The wind howls, the waves crash, and fear grips every heart on board as they search for someone to blame, hoping for a way out of the chaos. The lot falls on Jonah, the stranger among them, and all eyes turn to him with suspicion and dread. He confesses, his voice trembling above the roar of the storm, "I am a Hebrew. I fear the Lord, the God who made the sea and the land." The sailors are struck with terror, realizing they are caught in the wrath of a powerful deity. Jonah tells them the only way to save themselves is to throw him overboard, offering himself as a sacrifice to calm the raging sea. Even then, the sailors are reluctant. They row with all their might, straining against the furious waves, desperate to reach the safety of the shore without resorting to such a terrible act. But the storm only worsens, growing more violent with every passing moment, as if the sea itself demands Jonah's surrender. Finally, with heavy hearts, the sailors pray for forgiveness, begging Jonah's God not to hold this act against them. They toss Jonah into the churning sea, and instantly the storm ceases, replaced by an eerie calm. The sailors are awestruck, overwhelmed by the sudden peace. In gratitude and reverence, they offer sacrifices and vows to Jonah's God, forever changed by what they have witnessed. As for Jonah, his fate takes a miraculous turn. He's swallowed whole by a great fish, a living prison beneath the waves where escape seems impossible. For 3 days and 3 nights, Jonah remains in the belly of the beast, surrounded by darkness and uncertainty, his life hanging in the balance. In this strange, silent world, Jonah is forced to confront himself and his choices. The real lesson is about to begin. This isn't just survival, it's transformation. Jonah's ordeal is a journey of the soul, a test of faith and purpose. Jonah's journey inward starts now, as he faces the depths of his own heart and the mystery of divine mercy. The story takes a turn into the depths, where transformation, redemption, and new beginnings await. In utter darkness, Jonah faces himself and God. He's trapped, powerless, at rock bottom. Here, Jonah finally prays, not for escape, but in gratitude for being saved from drowning. His prayer is a psalm of surrender. Salvation belongs to the Lord. In the belly of the fish, Jonah finds clarity. He can't run from God's presence, even here. Humbled, he vows to fulfill his mission. Only then does the fish spit him out onto dry land. Jonah is reborn, given a second chance, but the story isn't over. The hardest lesson is still to come. Jonah emerges, reborn and begrudgingly obedient. God's command is unchanged. Go to Nineveh. This time Jonah goes. Nineveh is vast, intimidating. Jonah delivers the shortest sermon ever, 40 days more, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. No passion, no details, just a warning. Miraculously, the people believe. The king leads the city in repentance, even dressing animals in sackcloth. God sees their sincerity and spares the city. Jonah's mission is a success, but instead of joy, Jonah is furious. The story's twist, the prophet resents God's mercy. The real conflict is just beginning. For ancient Israelites, this story was shocking. Nineveh was the enemy. God's mercy toward them challenged everything they believed. Jonah's reluctance mirrored their own prejudices. The story flips expectations. Pagan sailors and Ninevites show more humility than God's own prophet. It's satire, a mirror for the audience. The message: God's compassion isn't limited by human boundaries. Repentance and mercy are for all, even enemies. It's a radical, uncomfortable lesson, then and now. Could a man survive 3 days in a whale? Science says no. The great fish could be a whale, but biology makes survival impossible. No air, crushing pressure, digestive juices. Tales like James Bartley's have been debunked, but that's not the point. The story is filled with miracles, storms, plants, fish. The whale's belly is a metaphor for hitting rock bottom and emerging transformed. Like myths worldwide, it's about death and rebirth. The power is in the symbolism, not the zoology. The lesson is what matters. Jonah ends not in triumph, but sulking under a withered plant, angry at God's mercy. He wanted justice, not forgiveness for his enemies. God's final lesson. You pity a plant. Should I not pity Nineveh, with its thousands of people and animals? The story ends with a question, not an answer. It's about the vastness of divine compassion and our own limits. Who are we to decide who deserves mercy? Jonah's struggle is ours. Can we expand our compassion beyond our tribe? That's why this tale endures. It's not just a children's story. It's a challenge to our hearts. The greatest monsters aren't in the sea, but within ourselves.